Good afternoon, Wealth Our Way Nation. What is going on? It is your main man, Charles Tank Harris, the founder and chief visionary officer of the financial literacy platform Wealth Our Way, where our motto is wealth is not only for the wealthy. I welcome each and every one of you to episode 93, where we will continue our conversation on marriage and money. Before we get started, I want to thank each and every one of you who are here with me live as I stream across the Wealth Our Way Facebook and YouTube pages. I also want to give the Wealth Our Way Nation salute to all the members of the nation that watch this program overnight, over the weekend, wherever you can squeeze 15 minutes of financial literacy in. And then a heartfelt how are you to the good folks on the Life 101 platform who listen to the audio of this very here program. So yes, Sister Lindsay, thank God it is Friday. We've made it through yet another week. I want to remind everybody, I believe the attitude should always be gratitude. And I want you guys to think about this. I've said it on a previous program. I know it's payday for some people. I know we may be counting up our peanuts and just not having enough to really be happy and overwhelmed and joyous. Remember that if you have a household that brings in $60,000 of income or more, that you are a household in the top 1% globally of income earners. Now, you may be looking up the street at Cindy's new Mercedes or Tommy's new Armani suit. I don't even know if Armani still makes rock, suits or whatever, but whatever. You may be a little envious or, just a little jealous, dare I say, of someone else's situation. But do realize that globally, you're winning. And that with your proper mindset and mentality, you keep growing wealth, keep growing your income. Yours too will be a life that is fulfilled and one to be envied instead of you having envy. Although I personally don't believe envy is an emotion that any of us need to deal with. So with that being said, I want to talk about and continue the conversation about marriage and money. It's very interesting. I think that my life is just a script that I have the benefit and the privilege of living out every day because I came up with the topic of marriage and money yesterday morning, as I explained on the program. And then, sure enough, I had a call with a client yesterday afternoon. This poor woman was crying to me on the phone over a subject that deals right with this very topic. So, of course, I never use my clients' names, but their scenarios are always a subject of our topics here on 15 Minutes of Finance. And I want to talk about her situation similarly that I come across with other clients. Now, here's the thing, because I'm a transparent guy. You guys know I like making fun of myself. I'm on my iPad doing this program. I've explained to you guys that I'm having computer problems, so I'm using my iPad instead of my PC. I have a program, an app on my iPad called Notability. And I sat there with my iPencil and wrote out this lovely chart to show you what I want to talk about. And then I come to StreamYard on my iPad and I can't screen share that chart. I'm very sad. But even though I can't screen share the chart, you're going to follow along with me verbally as I explain to you what I worked with this client on yesterday. Understand that when I talk about marriage and money, we're trying to make people's lives better. That is all money is. Money is a tool that helps us make our life better. In my work, I get the ability to help people improve their life through making better money decisions and using better money practices. What this woman called me about was, as part of our services, we offer some estate planning tools. One of the tools that we offer is a simple will for our clients. Some of our clients, when we are doing their wills, they have issues that need to be further hammered out and they need trusts set up. So depending on the level of membership, some of them have trusts included. Some of them will pay separately for a trust. This particular woman and her husband, let me drop the scenario on you. They own a company together. And the company that they own together owns several pieces of real estate. So I'm going to use round numbers. They're not their numbers. They own $1.2 million of assets. That the company's worth is $1.2 million. And once again, this is not their number. I'm picking it because it divides easy for my example. Now, here's the situation. The husband and the wife have 6 kids together. When I say together, I mean, as a married couple, there are 6 kids that belong to either of them. However, of the 6 kids, only 2 of them actually were born from their husband-wife union. The other 4 kids are all the husband's kids, but they're a family. When they started talking about dividing the assets at death, the wife wanted her 2 children that also belonged to the husband, but her 2 children that she birthed to benefit from her half of the company. And then she said, you know, my husband, he'll provide for his kids. When this conversation started, the husband was having none of it. An argument broke out, and the wife started crying like it literally was a thing, because the husband was like, hey, all 6 of them are my kids, including the 2 that you birthed. I want to give our 6 kids everything evenly. So now we're going back to 1.2 million. In his mind, he wanted each kid to get $200,000. You know, if she died first, everything would go to him. Then when he died, he wanted to give each kid 1/6. She didn't want this. She wanted, when they die, when she passes, for them to look at their estate as 600,000 belongs to her, 600,000 belongs to him. She wants her 600,000 to go evenly to her 2 children, 300 and 300. And then she's completely cool with when her husband dies with his 600,000, if he doesn't take care of their kids together, because they've already been taken care of, and he chooses to give the other 4 kids 1/4 of his money, so they would each get 150, 150, 150, and 150. Big fight. And once again, we as men tend to be loud and boisterous and bullying, and this woman was wanting to pull her hair out. So I had a conversation, and I said, hey, look, we can fix that. That is one of the happy spots of my job. There is a process called estate equalization, where I can say, hey, what do we want to accomplish here? What amount of money do we want each person to get? And then we can structure it in such a way so that that ultimately ends up happening. In the wife's mind, what she thought would be the most fair thing to have happen would be for her to give her kids 300,000 each, and then for the husband to give all 6 kids 100,000. So ultimately, her kids would get 400 each, and the other kids would get 100,000 each. And the husband thought that was very lopsided. He wanted all of his kids to be treated equally. I drew out several different options that I went over with her so you guys could see them. It's a lot easier to follow if you can see it. Prayerfully, I'll have my PC fixed by Monday, or I'm getting a brand new one, because if I can't fix this one, I'll just get a new one. And I'll be able to share screen again, and I'll go through this exercise so you guys can see the actual numbers of how it worked out. But what I suggested to her was, while the company exists right now, take your ownership that is in your individual name and put your ownership of the company in a trust. So now the company XYZ Real Estate is owned 50% by your husband and 50% by wifey's trust. This is not an issue of any money going to your husband from your side. Your money all goes into your trust, and you can disseminate your trust however you want. However, your husband could have rights of first refusal to buy the trust out, so that now he owns 100% of his company, and he can disseminate that 100% however he sees fit. His purchase of the shares from the trust, that money would go into the trust instead of the shares being there. He'd take the shares out, so now he owns 100%, and your kids would have that money to divide. So her question was, well, how would the husband pay for my shares? Because we're in this together. That is where you can use a tool such as life insurance. I do it all the time with corporate partners when there's no marriage involved. It's called a buy-sell agreement or a cross-purchase agreement. I use key man policies in the event of someone's death. These are all different tools that allow us to accomplish what we ultimately want to have happen without somebody feeling slighted emotionally. So I spoke to the husband later, and I told him about the cross-purchase buy-sell agreement, And he was cool. He was like, yo, that sounds like a great idea. And we can do this in reverse too. If I go first, she'll have to buy that and then disseminate it amongst the kids. And now, and these aren't kids. Let's keep in mind, this is a very older, very mature age couple. The youngest kid in this example is 27. The oldest kid is 49 or 51. So this is a way for her to control what she wants to have happen. When I first got into financial services 24 years ago, I was working as a bodyguard, ironically, for a very wealthy woman who then became my financial services client. And she taught me something that I would have never known growing up in the inner city on food stamps. She said, Tank, money is a way to control and get your wishes accomplished, even from the grave. And I thought that was a very interesting concept, trying to control things even from the grave. Now, I'm a control freak. So I was all ears. I was like, wait, I can get people to do what I want them to do 40 years from now because of something I set up today? Yes, you can. You can set up a trust that payments will come out of if somebody is doing a certain thing. You want all your kids to go to college? Put some money in a trust and say they only get the money if they get a college degree. You want your kids to all be charitable and do kind things for the world? Put money in a trust and say they can only get the money if they do these kind charitable things. You want these kids to come put flowers on your grave every third Thursday? Put money in a trust and say they only get it if they come put flowers on the grave. There are trustees that go on in perpetuity after your death. You can have a corporate trustee. You don't have to name a person. You can name a bank or a company. And that trustee is responsible for making sure that the conditions of your trust are met. I was so happy to be able to put this woman's mind at ease. And, you know, as this segment is called, Marriage and Money, I think I helped their marriage. I took an unhappy spouse and made her happy. I took a husband who his heart was in the right place. He sees all his kids as equal. He doesn't differentiate between the kids he's had with his wife and his other kids. I understand that. I am married to a woman who has 4 kids that when I met her, she had 4 kids. I have 6 kids. We have a company together that is actually named Decennium because there's 10 kids, and 10 is Decennium is another language of saying 10. However, there are things that she does individually that she wants to make sure her kids benefit from. And there are things that I do individually that I want to make sure my kids benefit from. And then there are things that we do jointly that we want our kids to benefit from. This goes right to the heart of what I told you guys yesterday. An ounce of prevention beats a pound of cure. My wife's daughter is 11. I still call her a baby. I love this little girl. She's, you know, I've been with my wife now for 6 years. I've known this little girl more than half her life. She's my step princess. Love her. Treat her I'm with her more than I'm with my kids because my kids live several states away. With that being said, I want her to go to Harvard or Howard or the best schools that she can get into, Temple University, of course, and shout out to you. Best school she can get into. And as a result, my wife doesn't necessarily worry about me not treating her well if she should die first. But with that being the case, she knows my heart. We still put it in writing what this child gets if something happens to her. It is her life's work to make sure her baby is taken care of. And I understand that completely. My ex-wife has moved on, has a new boyfriend. They may get married one day. He has kids. Do I expect him to treat my children the way he treats his own children as far as his estate is concerned? I would say no. Partly because he knows I'm going to take care of my kids, but partly because he's worked hard to provide for the kids that he made. And he probably isn't going to feel exactly the same about my children. And that's fair. If we're being unemotional, that's fair. But we should plan these things so that we don't have conversations where one of us is crying because we think someone's being unfair and it starts a fight and ruins a weekend. And those are the tools that we can use financially, especially if we have these conversations before too much emotion gets involved. 6 years into knowing a child, knowing her more than half her life, is a different conversation to plan estate-wise for her than when we got married 3-4 years ago. So with that being said, I'm sorry I couldn't screen share. This was real. I went to work with the Apple Pencil today and wrote it all out. But hopefully we'll get to see it on Monday. Please enjoy your weekend. Please, please, please have a great, great time. And join me Monday. Don't forget to look in the chat and click on the link for information. We are perfecting everything. You know, I promise and then I deliver here on Wealth Our Way. So we're taking the information in. I appreciate those of you who have filled out the form. I promise you by Monday you'll have some feedback. In the future, we want to make it so the form gets filled out, you automatically get some feedback. I'm working on it, baby. You know, the reality is that I'm not only here every day talking to you guys, I'm serving clients' needs till 10:30, 11 o'clock at night some nights. We're going to make it happen. I appreciate your patience. On Monday, I'll be back with a new topic. Please, as you're enjoying your weekend, remember, wealth is not only for the wealthy. I look forward to talking to you on Monday. God bless you.